Hi, good morning. Um, Gosh, I was thinking all day today, am I in the wrong room? Because I have the problem, and I appreciate what you do, and appreciate all the stuff you do, okay? But if you try to compare the failings in the Manchester United team, and you use the Liverpool team as the reference point, you'll never change the Manchester United team. That's just a fact of life. It's a very simple analogy, and that's the problem we face. All this data is wonderful, but if you're not comparing like for like, if you're not doing it along the lines of the people who are doing the frontline care, you're producing a lot of data. Fabulous. Do I use it? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I find it helpful, sometimes I just find it reams and reams of paper that I don't really have time to read through. So what is it I do? Well, the Trussell Trust, you might think, runs food banks across the UK, therefore we're a food aid poverty. Well, we're a charity, we're not. We're a charity that actually deals in poverty. That's what we do. We just happen to run food banks as part of the work we do. We can't even decide our vision, values and mission. This is kind of like what we go by, you know, a world where people of all backgrounds are included and have an opportunity to live life to the full with hope for the future. It's a bit wordy because we can't decide among ourselves what we're actually trying to achieve, because we're kind of like a doing organisation. We just get out and do it. If a light bulb needs changed, we just change it. We don't have a meeting and bring in academics to write reports on it. We just get it done. That's what we do. But actually this second bit sort of sums up pretty much what we do. Help for today and hope for tomorrow. And that's where you guys can come in and really help us, the hope for tomorrow bit, because that's about giving us the stuff we need to know about the changes that are being made, and especially, unfortunately, within the DWP. You say it lags behind a little, but I could have told you in April 2013 that the sanctions hurt 10% more people, because I saw 10% more people coming to food banks telling me that the sanctions were hurting them. I could have told you that on the spot. In fact, we did tell Ian Duncan-Smith, and that's why he hasn't spoke to us since 2013. And no matter what he stands in Parliament and tells you, he hasn't spoke to the Trussell Trust. He hasn't met with the Trussell Trust. He won't meet with the Trussell Trust. He doesn't like the Trussell Trust. Why? Because I tell him a fact. And the fact is this, that it's not his policies that I have a problem with, but it's the implementation of his policies that are letting people down, and I care about those people. That's my job. My job is to care for people. It's to care for people who have problems and issues, and I do it, and that's what we do as an organisation. For me, if you're going to start with anything, and that it not only is how the Trussell Trust works, it also is the data thing. Start with a why. Why do you want to collect the data? What is it you want to achieve with this information? And I think some of the people here do it really, really well, and they produce some really good stuff for us. But also remember that we are one of these unofficial sources of data. What makes data official and unofficial? Because we have robust data. We have 1 million pieces of paper that we gather directly from the individuals that give us their name, address, their family size, the reason they're there, the trigger that brought them to the food bank. All of that is there, and it's put into a data system, and it's not official data. Well, I got news for you. It's pretty official, and it's up to date as of last week. It's live data. It's a live database. So, I mean, it's not just what you can produce for me. Ask yourself, what can I give to you? Because I have that database. It is the only live database in the UK that's up to date with food poverty statistics. And that's why we are prominent in the news. It's not that we're good at PR. Ignore that one. I have one person in my PR team, and she left university and came straight to work for me. She's not a PR specialist. It's the fact that we collect this data and we make it available, and some people don't like it. And that's what brought us to the forefront of the news, and that's why we will continue to use that data. It measures this very simply. It's like when you're building the M4 motorway. It measures the volume of traffic on that motorway. It doesn't measure whether an individual mini travels up and down it 3 times, because that, to me, isn't that important. What is important is that I have the right resources in the right place to supply the volume of traffic. If you want that information, ask me for it, because I can provide it. I won't provide it to the newspapers. Why? Because the very reason why our last speaker said, when the Daily Mail get that information and the Observer get that information and the Telegraph, you then get 5 different write-ups on what you've actually produced. So we produce a very simple report. We always have case studies in our report because we talk about real people and real experiences. We do that because we care about those people. And I got news for you. The economy is getting better. It is absolutely getting better. But there's more people coming to food banks. And it's not because the food's free. because every one of them has been assessed by a frontline care professional, including the Department of Work and Pension people. It's because there is a need there. Wages are lagging behind, contrary to what you see. Did you ever think you would see a time in society when our Chancellor gets excited because wages have increased by 0.1%? Not because they've increased, but actually because inflation has come down, which looks as if wages have increased. Well, that's the situation we've got, and the people at the lower end are still not finding it easy. It's really rough for them. And we have to keep an eye on that. So we're working with Joseph Rowntree, we're working with Oxfam, we're producing evidence and statistics for them. We're rebuilding our database as I speak. So if there's information that you want that isn't in our statistics, tell me what it is you want. And while we're rebuilding our database, we'll put it in. And one of the things that has come out from that is actually listening to IDS and listening to the Daily Mail, I have to say. And they have asked some questions, and questions like, how many times did that individual come? And all right, you say it was a sanction, but does that individual have secondary and third reasons behind that? So do they have debt? Do they have other issues? And so we're now building all that into our system so as we can have it and give it to you. So if you want that, I haven't got my email, I haven't got any business cards because I left my home on Saturday and spoke at 3 conferences. I've nothing left to give out. I've no paperwork, I've no nothing. But if you Google Trussell Trust, I am the Chief Executive, you'll see my email there. Send me an email. Tell me what it is you want, and if I can build it into the system, I'll build it into the system now. Also, keep producing stuff, even though I sometimes think it's, I say things like, when you think your evidence isn't good for me, it is absolutely really important that we understand long-term views, because what I see is what happens today. I know what happens today. I know what's going to happen today. And I know every time the benefit system changes, every time they cap it, and they're now talking about moving the cap from 26,000 to 23,000, that's going to have a huge issue here in London. And we can measure that for you. We can absolutely measure that for you. And we measure it by the individuals that come in and walk in front of us, because all we do is help people. That's it. Thank you very much.